So we open with Heather wanting answers. Lisa, you know a victim of Mary? We need to speak on it. So Lisa finally breaks down and blurts out that Cameron took out a $300,000 mortgage on his home so that Mary could pay for her sweat gland surgery. A con. A con. So Heather's like, well, why didn't you tell us this before, Heifer? Why are you holding on to the tea? Cameron is my friend. I 100% believe everything he told me. Then why are you friends with a bamboozler? Why are you chaps with a charlatan? Why are you friends with a fraud?
Meredith said I am not going to sit here and listen to these questionable digs.
And everybody was like, honey, these ain't that questionable. Everybody talking about it on the internet, on the shade room. We done heard. So this isn't new news.
Meredith is upset because I've been saying the same thing about Jen for a year and a half and nobody believed me. Nobody wanted to say anything.
But it's okay to bash Mary.
Mary has always been nice to me. Jen was mean to my family, my business. So I'm not just going to sit here and bash Mary when no one would stick up for me when Jen Shaw was torturing us.
So Lisa just gonna say, I'm going to bed. Are y'all gonna be mad because I'm going to bed? You trying to pull a Meredith disengage now?
This is minutia to the terrible trauma that I and my family had to go through.
So Lisa decides to go downstairs and warn Mary, saying, I want us to have an honest friendship. And the girls are talking about you and your religion. And do you think you're God? Now, why didn't you tell? I also told them about Cameron mortgaging that house. People say weird stuff and I never believe it. Yes, you do, because you said, I believe every word Cameron said. You can't keep up with your lies. And Lisa throws Whitney under the bus again. Well, Whitney just told me that you think you're God. But you just told Whitney about the $300,000 mortgage. Why aren't you owning up to your part in the store? Mary, the stuff that Lisa is telling you has been out for years, and it's no meaner than you are to your parishioners. And so then she throws Jen up under the bus, saying, well, Jen said a lot about you, Mary. She said, why am I held accountable and you're not? Well, you're being held accountable in the eyes of the law. Mary gonna get hers when she get up to Jesus. So the next morning, the house staff is making them a fabulous breakfast. I mean, that food is making me hungry. So Mary goes and drops some Louboutins off to Jenny. Now, I feel like those are probably some knockoffs just in a real Louboutin box, because that's the tea Mary gives me. However, Mary and Jenny got on the good foot because Jenny was helping her with her garish makeup last night and apologized for their tiff while tubing. Oh, them is some ugly little boots. But then again, Mary picked them out, so why am I surprised? How'd you even know them heifers would fit her size? However, Whitney has some questions. She's like, now, Heather, I sleep right next to your room, and I heard Mary and Lisa I heard you, Mary and Lisa last night just cackling and giving gifts when y'all was just talking trash about Mary. Heather said, I'm just as confused as you. They woke me up being buddy-buddy. I thought they went to bed mad. So Whitney says, I ain't blindly following Mary. I got out of the church because I didn't believe in that no more, and I'm getting out of this friendship with Mary because she's a liar. She said, I know this was Lisa. This was a nobody but Lisa. And Heather said, yeah, she was giddy. Because Lisa can't stand Whitney, and I don't know why. You've got your own ugly husband, Lisa, and your own malnourished children. And your own sorry tequila, so why don't you focus on your failures? So Heather goes to meet with her long-lost sister, and they realize they was both jealous of each other. Heather was jealous of her free spirit, and the sister was jealous of Heather being the favorite daughter. But Heather's sister is funny, because she said, no, this is really important to me. Why are you drinking Tito's and water? That's disgusting. And it is. Her sister's right. Lisa, since you want a bigger plane, why don't you get your happy butt back on the bus to go home to Salt Lake City since the jet's gonna be too small for you?
Meredith says, well, I deeply, deeply regret saying anything to Whitney about Cameron. Mary, I should have come to you.
See, Meredith, you want to play the I'm not engaging until you need a plot line. Then all of a sudden you're engaged like Portia. Meredith, the only reason Mary wasn't talking about you behind your back is because Mary wasn't talking to half the cast and nobody wanted to be bothered with her and she wasn't in any scenes. I don't know why you trust that harpy.
So Meredith wants to sit everyone down before we leave the trip so that we can have some resolve.
Now, Jeannie, Jen Shaw ain't nobody's friend and she sure ain't Meredith or Twink Marks. So that's why she hired the PI. Also, Jen was sending her threatening text messages from an unknown number I'd call a PI too. You just have so little to add to this show. So little. And I love Whitney. Well, the only reason this came out is because Cameron brought it up because Lisa invited him to her event. Whitney low-key saying, Lisa's the one who brought this bull. Lisa is like Lisa Vanderpump. She's real puppet master, throw that rock, but hide that hand.
Is gonna say, so it's my fault that Cameron's on the board of directors for Foster Children of Utah. It feels like you're saying it's my fault.
'Cause it is, heifer, you ain't slick. And you ain't smart. Lisa gonna say, well, I didn't bring him into this. He got brought up. Yeah, you brought him up and told them that he mortgaged his house for $300,000 and gave Mary the money so that she could get her sweat glands removed. You brought him to the party and then you brought him up.
So Meredith gives Mary the floor.
And she said, I don't have to explain my life to you, Whitney. And it's like, why are you coming at Whitney? You just don't like her. And there's no good reason for it. She ain't ever done nothing to you. Except not marry her step-grandfather. Maybe that's what you're upset about. But she's still with the coot. Lisa gonna tell Mary, but you care about Whitney. Mary said, yeah, I care. Heather's like, wait, what? Last night you said you wasn't gonna be friends with the heifer. Now you care? So Whitney asked Lisa, well, what made you make this big switch from the heifer telling us about Cameron's mortgage to now trying to be Mary's bestie? Whitney says, look, Lisa saw a crack in our relationship and she decided to manipulate it to her advantage. And she did. Lisa gonna say, I'm not a mastermind. No, you ain't a mastermind, but you is a puppeteer. Mary gonna say, oh, I don't get manipulated. You married your step-grandfather. That is the definition of manipulate. Lisa gonna say, Whitney, don't ever address me negatively or I'll start thinking the worst of you and you won't like it. You already think the worst of her, and you try to spread rumors about her every chance you get. You egg her at parties, but that's really all you can do is spread rumors and egg at a party. You don't affect nobody's bank balance. So Whitney still wants to know, but Lisa, why did you go down to Mary's room? And Heather said, yeah, Lisa and Mary came in, they gave me a gift, and then Mary gonna say, that's nobody's business. I think buying off the cast is all our business. Heather said, girl, you came into the room and said you were done with Whitney with a look of glee on your face. Lisa gonna say, I wasn't gleeful. Heather said, if you didn't have a Cheshire grin, I know something. You was a happy heifer, a happy hating heifer. Heather said, I just think it's odd after talking trash about the heifer all night, now you running around with new Louis Vuittons just as giddy as can be. So everybody got good gifts from Mary but Whitney. But don't worry, Whitney, you've got your Coots coin to fall back on. Coot coin, the Coot coin. Whitney said, I don't need a gift, but I actually thought we were friends and we ain't. I don't know how you thought you could be friends with Mary. You can't be friends with nobody that out of touch, that willfully obtuse, that grandfather fucker. Mary gonna say, well, y'all didn't ask nothing to Jen. Yeah, 'cause Jen's in the whooscow. I didn't ask for my inheritance. I didn't ask for my life. Yes, you did. You fucked your grandfather for it. A commitment to. Heather says, well, Whitney, you're manipulating me in a different way because you get so mad at me we can't talk about nothing. Mary said I could have been manipulated you when we was at my little Italian dinner. And Heather said I was, tipsy off the wine. And she said, well, you always tipsy. Somebody always driving you home. Well, somebody needs to drive your wig to the funeral service, to its funeral service. Well, somebody needs to drive your wig to its repast. Heather says, you know what? I am done with women being unkind to me. And Mary says, all right, well, have a good day. I'm with Heather. Stop putting up with the abuse. You put up with it from Jen, now you're putting up with it from her. Heather said, I gotta be drunk just to deal with your butt. That's why I'm drinking around you, because you're an ass. Heather also says to Lisa, you coming in my room at 2 a.m. to wake me up with your new best friend was rude and cruel too. I'm trying to get some sleep, but I gotta deal with your flipping and flopping. Heather says, we all being two-faced right now. We said we were going to ask Mary the tough questions, but we're all too scared of Mary to do it.
And Lisa says, well, we had a great conversation last night.
Heather said, no, it wasn't. You told us about her flim-flamming that man out his mortgage. And of course, Mary says that's a lie. So Heather just walks off and Whitney runs after her. Heather in the bathroom crying. You should not be this upset. Not over Mary. But she don't even want to get on the plane with them. She just wants to heff on home. So Whitney goes and tells the girls, we gonna get our own plane home because we're tired of being gaslit. Well, why? Why can't we talk about it? Lisa, you can't talk about it because all you want to do is lie and puppet master. So then Jeannie pipes up and says, well, yes, Mary, everybody was talking about you and your church. They talked about how you use God to grift, how you use spirituality to siphon and steal.
Mary said I believe in what I do. I took it on like a woman.
That fucks her grandfather, you sure did. Then she get to talking about Heather doing all her yelling with her chunky self. Everybody was like, okay.
This my whole life. People hating me for my life and my lifestyle.
Don't nobody hate you and the coot cock you cuddle up to. Girl, boom. Ain't nobody jealous of you. You may have labels, but they all look knockoff. Your style is shit and your head is a fool.
It's so unfair to compare me to Jen because what she did was heartless and wrong.
And what I do is barely legal. Oh my gosh, she said when I think of Jen, I see a thug. A thug. She gonna say one of those Mexican people that make all the drugs. Thug wasn't bad enough. You said let's get extra racist with it.
Oh God, Mary's crying because this is her business and her faith, and you can't throw these accusations out unless you know the truth.
Well, how many people have to put out these allegations before we start believing where there's smoke, there's fire? So Mary run down to Heather talking about I want my purse back, and she tells her, if you were my real friend, this never would have happened.
And it really hurts me.
And so Heather apologizes. She says, I'm sorry I hurt you. And Mary gonna say, you're a liar. Then why did you even talk to the heifer if you ain't gonna believe her apology? Mary really gonna say Heather's weird. She really gonna say you're weird. You're fucking your grandfather. How weird is that? Well, that was the shit. Let's get to Portia's Family Matters.